sexual predators showing up where you least expect it, your child's classroom.
She took me home. She pulled over halfway in between the ride. We had sex.
At what point did it cross the line?
She came back in the back of the bunk room with me, and that's where it all started.
When she assaulted me, I didn't know what to do.
They're gonna blame these kids and they're gonna say that they're the ones who caused this.
Minors can't give consent. It's statutory rape at a minimum. When you think about child sexual predators, don't you think about them lurking on social media or even at the playground? No one wants to believe that they are also showing up where you least expect it, your child's classroom. Dozens of female teachers have been arrested just this year across the nation for sexually abusing their students. And trust me, it's underreported. It's an alarming number. News Nation's Dan Abrams Live reported headline after headline. Take a look.
Monica Sanchez, a 21-year-old teacher's aide in Kilgore, Texas. Sanchez was arrested after admitting to having sex with 3 different students. Julie Kinsey Hoover, a 38-year-old math teacher at a private Christian school in Perry, Florida, arrested last week in connection with lewd text messages she allegedly exchanged with one of her male students. J.C. Bain Collins, a 22-year-old substitute teacher, was arrested. Authorities say Collins went to the student's house when his parents weren't there, had sex with him.
We uncovered a long line of female teachers allegedly involved with their students. And I'm sure you're wondering, why would anyone destroy their life for an inappropriate relationship with a child? Well, I sat down with a former Teacher of the Year who says she had a 2-year relationship with a 14-year-old student. She spent 3 years in prison, and she says her life has never been the same. I asked her point blank, why did you do this? And you're gonna be surprised by her response. You'll see that interview later. But first, Michael and Justin were just 17 and 16 years old when their 26-year-old special ed teacher, Catherine Hodling, started grooming them. They say it started with some extra attention with their schoolwork, but it escalated into off-campus meetings, drinks, drugs, and sexual abuse.
I was a kid that was in school and I needed help, and the predator and the monster kind of took me under her wing. I was a junior in high school when I first met Catherine Hodling. It became a point where I couldn't run away from her because she was handling all of my classes and credits and everything. She was in control of me graduating. She used to just buy alcohol. We were in her office and she had a Xanax she offered, probably 3 months in. I needed a ride home, so I had caught Mrs. Hodling. She wanted to pull over to the side of the road and just sit there and listen to music for a little bit. And then she had to say, if you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. And that's when we just had sex. The first person I told was my best friend, Justin. Unfortunately, she did the same thing she did to me to him.
So she would take us to school every day of the week. She would offer both of us a ride home because we both lived next to each other. I left my charger in her car. When she came over, she had dropped off my charger. She just started to sit on my lap and then she started kissing on me. She was just pressuring every day, just telling me hey, I want to see you, I want to see you, I want to see you. We had sex a total of 6 times. And I kept telling her no, but she wouldn't let up. Even though she got caught, she still only served 4 years. How do you get out on good behavior for 6 counts of sexual conduct and, drugs to a minor? That doesn't make sense.
Okay, guys, thank you for being here and being willing to talk about this.
Thank you for having us.
This is an important situation that doesn't get talked about. How did this start? How did it ramp up and get to the point that it crossed the line and got inappropriate with you two?
When we first started school, she started the class off with icebreakers. So we were kind of getting to know each other and everybody in the classroom. And she was walking around the classroom and then she got to my desk and it was a desk of 4 people. And one of the guys that was next to me was trying to play around with her. And then he asked her what her age was and she told him 26. And then I was like, oh wow, my brothers are the same age. And then she kind of took that ran with it a little bit.
Did it get personal right away?
It first started off with like her just helping me out a lot in classroom and just always like being there. Every time I walked in the door, she was always the first person to greet me. I used to sit in the back of the classroom, so she would start off at the front, and then she would just make her way to the back, you know, and stay there for the rest of the class period.
Do you think you were targeted?
It kind of felt like I was, because I didn't go to the same school at the same time that he did. I was at our alternative school in that district. So after school, I would take a bus back to the home school and then get on a bus home. But before that time of me getting on the bus home, I would walk around the school, see him, go see all my other friends. But every time I would see him, she's with him. So I think she took a liking to me from that point.
Okay. And how long did this go on before the two of you compared notes?
For me, it was like from the beginning of school to like a month in. So like after a month of school, that's when he started to hang out with me a lot more, or like come around me after school. So like she would see him with me a lot.
It was October before things turned sexual with you.
Yeah.
And how about with you?
November.
All right. Did you tell him as soon as it happened?
Yeah. I didn't really feel like I could tell a lot of people, but he was my best friend, so
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do but tell him.
And what did you tell him?
I was like, the teacher that we always stay in the office with, she like took me home last night and we didn't make it all the way home basically. And then he was like, what do you mean? And I was like, she pulled over like halfway in between the ride and we had sex basically.
And with you, it was 2 months, so it was November.
Yes.
Okay. Were you expecting it? Did you see it coming?
No.
What did you guys think about this?
When it first happened, I was kind of like trying to run away from the fact that it all happened because I didn't want to get in trouble. I didn't really want to get caught. I didn't want my uncle to know. I didn't want my family to know at the time because like I wanted to be the good child, and my mom passed away, so I had to like stay out of trouble basically.
Right. And how did this come crashing down?
She basically was texting another student about me and him, and her dad had went through her phone and basically texted the teacher saying, if you don't stop texting and talking to these boys and my daughter, I'll like call the school and tell the school. But he actually did it the next day. So that's how it.
Did you think it was wrong at the time?
Yes. I at first when it happened, when she assaulted me, I didn't know what to do. I was at home. My whole family was home, but they were all asleep at the time. So I didn't know if I could go and wake them up with this news and be like, I just got assaulted. I thought they would look at me differently. And she kind of took it as like an invitation to just keep coming back because I didn't say anything to anybody, so.
Now, when this did get found out, did it get around the school?
Yeah, when it got out, it kind of told everybody it was me, but you kind of knew it was kind of inappropriate because she was always next to me. Like, she didn't really give me any type of space. When I was with my friends will always see her. Everybody kind of always wondered why it was like that in the first place.
Okay, so when she got called out for this, people assumed it was you?
Yeah.
And did they assume it was you?
Yes, because they saw me walking around the school every time. And they knew I didn't go to the school at the time, so they always wondered where I was going. So then when the news came out, she was having sex with 2 students, they kind of just put the pieces all together.
All right. And this did not go well for y'all.
No.
You got really harshly bullied,
Yeah.
ridiculed. People made fun of it.
I got called teacher's pet at a basketball game. There was memes all over the place that got sent out.
Yeah, they put like memes in like all our football group chats. All of our, like, any sport we play, we have group chats, and like pictures of us, videos of us were just going around like crazy.
They were putting your face on like porn images and stuff like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this was humiliating for y'all.
Yes.
All right. I've got more questions. Coming up, a young man who says he was groomed by his 6th grade teacher, and you won't believe the trip she took this student on. We're going to meet him and add him to the conversation when we come back. This message is sponsored by Greenlight. Remember summertime as a kid? The freedom, the boredom, the first taste of independence? Like setting up a lemonade stand or earning your first dollar. Summer's the perfect time to teach kids real-world money skills that they'll use for life. Greenlight is a debit card and money app for families. Parents can send money, manage chores, and track spending. Kids learn to save, invest, and spend wisely, all in a fun, game-like experience. My producer, LaFern, and her son, David, use it and love it. I wish I had Greenlight when my kids got their first allowance. It would have made life so much easier. Greenlight is the easy way to raise financially smart kids. Don't wait to teach your kids real-world money skills. Start your risk-free trial today at greenlight.com/Phil. That's greenlight.com/Phil. greenlight.com/Phil.
I felt like if I told her to stop, it just would cause problems. So part of the reason why I was worried is because I'm black, she was white. I thought they wouldn't believe me just because of that. And that if she came up saying, oh, he forced me to do this, do that, I thought that's what would happen. If the roles were reversed, if it was a black male teacher and a white female student, the whole world would have been telling America to put him on the death penalty.
Justin makes an interesting point as to why he didn't feel safe to report the abuse. Now, Mason says at the time, he thought the special treatment he received from his former teacher, Heather Winfield, was completely normal.
When I was 11, my 35-year-old teacher was manipulating me into having sexual intercourse. When I first met Heather, I was angry at anything and everything because the people that I wanted weren't there. May 2015, my dad ends up getting shot. I watched him get shot. My mom at this time, she's gone. She's a full addict. She's nowhere to be found. I feel that she targeted me, she groomed me because of the background. Me and Heather, we would see each other every day at school. We would go out and we would get McDonald's. We'd go get hot chocolate and chocolate chip cookies. I'd go over to her house, I'd stay the night. We'd watch movies, we'd go camping for the weekend. Me, her daughter, and Heather all went out to the camper. We watched the movie. Her daughter, I went to bed. Heather came down, and then that's where it all started. It was like an everyday thing. Like there was nothing wrong. All she told me, like, don't let anyone know what we're doing. So it lasted about 2 years. She got accosting a minor for immoral purposes. That's what she got found guilty on. She got sentenced to 9 months in jail and then 25 years on the sex registry list. That's a joke. I watch people get caught with maybe a gram of a drug and they get more time than she would.
Well, Mason, thanks for being here. And I want to say to the three of y'all, before we go on, how much I appreciate your being here and being willing to talk about this. It'd be a lot easier to just stay home, not say anything about it. But this subject matter deserves some attention. It deserves some light. And oftentimes it doesn't get talked about because everybody wants to say, well, let's just move on. And we don't want to do that. We want to put some light on this so it can stop. And one thing for sure is you did absolutely nothing wrong. You did absolutely nothing wrong. You did absolutely nothing wrong. And if that hasn't been made clear, let's make that real clear. You did absolutely nothing wrong here. Do you get that?
Yes.
You really get that?
Yes. No, I get that.
But you didn't at the time?
No.
Because you were a child, 11 years old.
Yep.
How did your relationship with this teacher start? Why was she targeting you? How did this whole thing unfold?
One day, we were having a fun day in school. I got kicked out of the classroom that I was in, and I got sent to Heather's classroom. And
While I was in Heather's classroom, she talked about my brother Anthony that she had taught, and then it went from my brother Anthony to my father. And my father, I had watched him get shot when I was 10, so that kind of hit a soft spot with me, and I trusted her. And then from there on out, she told me that she was gonna help me out, and she was gonna get me put in her classrooms.
She hit a vulnerable spot for you because you watched your father get shot and killed right in front of you.
Yes.
Sorry that happened, by the way. I'm sorry you had to see that. That's not good at any age, and I don't care how long it's been. And your mother wasn't the best role model either, correct?
Correct.
So, here she has a young man that's certainly vulnerable and open to someone that steps up and shows them some attention and kindness and care, and you were hungry for that and looked for it.
Yeah.
She knew that. She spoiled you with nice things. What did she do?
She took me to Disney World. She bought me like $200 pair of shoes. She'd buy me like a couple of them at a time. She'd buy me nice clothes. She'd take me camping.
Did others notice this?
Yes.
Did anybody step up and say anything?
Well, no one really said anything other than the teachers at school. I had one teacher, and she pulled me out of class, and she asked me if there was anything going on with me and Heather, and I denied it. I told her no.
And did she drop it?
Yes, she dropped it.
Nothing further. Did anybody ever ask you guys if anything was going on?
Yeah.
Any teachers or administrators or anything?
We had one teacher ask us, because her office was shared with another teacher. Mm-hmm. And every time we would be in there, the other teacher would sometimes come in there and she would just ask us what we're doing in there.
And then the teachers that if I would get pulled out of class, they would just wonder how come you always get pulled out at the same time every day? Mm-hmm. So people wonder, or teachers wonder, they just, I don't know.
But nobody did anything about it?
No.
At what point did it cross the line?
It was on a trip we were camping, and she asked me if I wanted to go skinny dipping. And I didn't know what skinny dipping was at the time, and she told me that you take all your clothes off and you jump in the water, and I said yes. So we did it. We did not touch each other, put our clothes back on and went to the camper. And then the time where we had sexual intercourse was July 2nd. I was in the back of her camper. Well, it was me, her daughter, and Heather. And we were sitting in the camper watching a movie. Her daughter went to sleep up in the bed. Heather went up there with her. I went in the back of the bunk room. Her daughter fell asleep. She came back in the back of the bunk room with me, and that's where it all started.
So her daughter was there too?
Yes.
I mean, you really wonder what these people are thinking, and we're going to talk about that. Now, Mason says his former teacher made him feel like he was at fault. Of course. We reached out to her. We're going to find out what she had to say when we come back. And as we go to break, these three young men explain how they were portrayed as the predator. Not the victim, but as the predator.
People have a lot more sympathy for females than they do males.
Guys started treating it as oh, bro, you're the legend. You did the one thing that all boys be dreaming of. And I just looked at them it doesn't feel like I did.
People look at me did this really happen to you? Even after realizing that I'm a victim, they still look at me like I was the suspect.
I used to sleep terribly, but I found Beam's Dream Powder, a science-backed, healthy nighttime blend packed with ingredients shown to improve sleep. Beam is founded in America and run by people who share our values of hard work. Their Dream Powder is made with a powerful blend of all-natural ingredients: reishi, magnesium, L-theanine, apigenin, and melatonin. Here's the deal. Beam is giving my listeners the ultimate Patriot discount of up to 40% off. Try their best sleeping dream powder and get up to 40% off for a limited time. Go to shopbeam.com/Dr. Phil and use code Dr. Phil at checkout. That's shopbeam.com/Dr. Phil and use code Dr. Phil for up to 40% off. Sleep better, Wake up stronger and show up ready for your family, your work, and your country. Because when you're well rested, you're unstoppable. And this country needs more people like that.
When it comes to bullying, people used to make memes. They put my face on her wedding day picture instead of her husband's. Basically, it was just caught, like saying that she married a special ed kid or something.
I lost a few friends because they started to look at me differently. They started to say I was weird. They tried to also blame me for it.
Parents are looking at you like you're disgusting, and they're telling their kids to stay away from you. And the bond that you had with the friends that you've been with since 6th grade, they're not hanging out with you because of all this.
Michael, Justin, and Mason say they were victimized by their teachers, but they became a mockery of many jokes, and in the hallways, they got bullied, memes were created, they were just ridiculed after the fact. And look, when you're the age they were, this impacts their development, it impacts them emotionally, it impacts their educational process. But it doesn't end then when peers begin to make fun of them, humiliate them, call them out, all sorts of things. Their lawyers, Zach Runyon and John Marco, say these young men were targeted by these women, and Christy Jack, a former prosecutor who once worked in the Crimes Against Children unit, is now a defense attorney representing teachers who are accused of sexual abuse. But she says many of these women are not traditional predators in the sense that you think of. She doesn't defend what they do. She's just saying, if you're going to understand this, you have to understand, who they are and where they come from. And again, she's not trying to justify it. She's just saying, if you want to understand it, you need to understand who they are. Thank all of you for being here and talking about it. You hear people watch this and you think teachers know right from wrong. They're not stupid. There's no ambiguity about do you or do you not have the leeway to get inappropriately involved, A, with a minor, B, with someone that's entrusted to your care. That's clear, but they do it anyway. And you believe they are predators, right? I mean, they are taking advantage of these students and exploiting them.
Absolutely, Dr. Phil. This is a line that should never be crossed. This isn't ambiguous at all. This is a bright line. You do not take advantage of your students. You have a special position when we send our kids to school that we're going to trust that they're going to be cared for and protected. And this happens all the time from daycares, elementary schools, junior highs, high schools, and in colleges. And it happens more than you think. And a lot of it's swept under the rug or people keep quiet.
It is hugely underreported. And we had a graphic earlier of a lot of the teachers that we just pulled up that are current. I mean, these are just some of them that we pulled up. This is not an exhaustive representation at all, right? I mean, you probably got more clients than this right now that you're representing. If you've seen one of these stories in the last few months, raise your hand. Raise it high. So everybody here has seen a story of a teacher molesting a student. So that means if we see them, then the teachers see them. So if you're a teacher and you pull up a website or open a newspaper and you see a story of a teacher getting busted, their whole career going down the tube, marriage going down the tube, losing their certificate, getting on the sex registry, going to prison, you would think that would be a cautionary tale. I mean, there's a reminder like every few weeks or months popping up in the media. You would think it would be, whoa, not going there, but they do.
They do, and I think the problem is they think they can get away with it. And they target specific students. They target students who might have trouble with the administration, might not have the best relationship with their family, or in Mason's situation, went through a traumatic experience very recently. And they manipulate these kids, and they think that these are kids that they can control and kids that they don't think will report them. And so I think they do this, and they go into these abusive relationships with a lot of confidence that they're not going to get caught, that they're going to get away with this. And I think they also target these kids and think, well, if I do get caught, I'm going to blame them. I'm going to tell everybody it was their fault, and nobody is going to blame me. they're going to blame these kids and they're going to say that they're the ones who caused this.
Yeah, well, minors can't give consent. It's statutory rape at a minimum, right? At a minimum, it's statutory rape. How do you defend these cases?
Well, I think every client deserves someone that's going to fight for them and defend them. I mean,
And by the way, I don't mean like, how do you defend them? I mean, what is your defense when you represent these people?
well,
I expect you to defend them. That's your
absolutely,
job.
absolutely. I mean, in the context of what we're discussing, we're talking about individual whose guilt is a foregone conclusion. And so these are really two different categories. There are those that the accusations turn out to be false, and then there are those, for instance, the woman that we talked to this morning, she confessed from the very beginning. She confessed at every opportunity. She did not try to blame the victim in her case. And so in that situation, and in many situations, especially when it comes to women, it's a matter of letting the punishment fit the crime. In other words, what is appropriate? You know, what is the effect on the victim? What is that individual's life that led up to that moment? And what was their life after that? And so what we really try to do is we really try to let that client's lowest point in their life not define who they are for the rest of their life.
Here's the problem with that. You sometimes don't know what the impact is until that child grows up and hits some of those benchmarks where they get into a mature romantic relationship, or they have children and their child has to go to school, and all of these things come back, and so they're hypervigilant, can't turn the child loose. Or they get into an appropriate relationship and all of a sudden they pull back.
Sure.
So you don't know what it is before and after, sometimes for years and years, because it comes back to haunt them after the fact.
Yeah, they're going to struggle with these issues for the rest of their lives. The studies show, and I've seen it in my practice, I've been doing civil rights and helping these kids for my entire career. They will struggle with trust issues with people in authority. They're going to struggle with their own interpersonal relationships with other people. The divorce rate's going to be higher. The drug and alcohol abuse level is higher. It's going to ripple through their lives. And then not only that, Dr. Phil, it's going to ripple through their children's lives. The effect that this has on the greater community as a whole, I mean, it can't be overstated.
Well, and I think that's one of the reasons why we have no statute of limitations here, because the effect is profound and may not be visible for many years to come.
Yeah. Now, Zach, in Michael and Justin's case, did the school drop the ball? Did they fail them?
They absolutely did. There were several things that were happening between the beginning of the relationship with Hotelling and Michael to where it ended with Justin, where the school or the teachers or the administrators should have said, something's not right here. You know, we have a teacher walking through the hallways holding hands with Michael. We have a teacher who's pulling Michael out of class every single day, multiple times per day. We have Justin, who doesn't even go to that school, going to her office every day after school. The administration should have seen those signs, and they should have thought, there's something that even just might be going on here, and we need to look into it. And I think that's the problem, is they always try to hide behind, well, we didn't know for a fact this was going on.
Yeah, it's your job to know.
It's their job to know. It's not good enough to just say, I didn't know for sure. You're there to protect the kids. If you think it's going on, you got to look into it. And if they would have looked into it, this could have all been avoided.
And they have a legal obligation to do so. They have a legal obligation. They are held to a different standard than other people. Both, Dr. Phil, both my parents are educators. Okay, my mother was a special ed teacher. That's one of the reasons I do this. And if she sees anything that even would send up any type of warning bell, she will immediately go, even if it creates extra work for her, even if, other teachers will say, why'd you have to go and do that? Because
they're mandated reporters.
Mandated reporters.
I'm a mandated reporter. I mean, if we see it, we have to ring the bell. And we talk about special ed teachers. Both of you were dealing with ADD, right?
ADHD, yeah.
ADHD. That's how you were on that track. And the ratio teacher to student should be less there than anywhere else. And so there should be even more attention. And I've got some things I want to say to y'all, because this doesn't have to be a life sentence for any of the three of you, but it means there's work that has to be put in. After the break, I sat down with a former teacher who says she threw her life away for a relationship with a 14-year-old. She's going to tell us how and why it all happened when we come back.
It has impacted my life greatly. I never looked at any of my female teachers the same because I knew what one of them was capable of doing.
My whole aspect on trust kind of went out the door. And when it comes to like women, I think everybody has like ulterior motive.
My motivation for stuff went down. I lost a lot of weight, stopped eating food and stuff. I've thought about going back to college multiple times, but I just feel like I wouldn't be able to trust the authority figure.
Well, Michael, Justin, and Mason say no one understands how the abuse by their teachers impacted all aspects of their life. As I say, I get that. We're going to talk about that some more. But I sat down with a former teacher, with Christy's help, because you helped arrange that. Thank you very much. Because look, you never see an interview with a perpetrator, with a teacher here. But we were able to arrange that. The teacher is in silhouette here, and I'm okay with that because I wanted her to feel free to be open and candid. We're going to play an excerpt of that interview. She says she had a 2-year relationship with her 14-year-old student. And I want Michael, Justin, and Mason to see part of this interview. She did not have anything to do with these 3 students, but I want them to hear her thinking and then get their reaction to it afterwards. She agreed to sit down with me as long as we didn't have an audience here at the time, so I did it much earlier this morning. There's nobody there but she and I, along with Christy, who does represent her. Here's an excerpt of what she had to say. Did you ever stop and ask yourself, what am I doing to this child? I am prematurely pulling them into an adult world, sexually, emotionally, relationship-wise, and robbing them of their childhood.
I remember vocalizing that and saying that I felt that way. And it's difficult because the response that I got calmed me down. And so I would struggle with those things in the back of my head, but when I would put those things on the table and say, this isn't right.
The student would say, no, I'm good. No, this is great, I'm good.
Yeah.
Of course, they don't know it.
Not just, I'm great, it's good, it's okay, but respond with, in no way, shape, or form are you doing anything wrong. I absolutely want to be here. I love you. I think that what we're missing is the depth of the emotional friendship that existed. And maybe it was an anomaly, and maybe that's why I struggle right now. Because I feel like, and I'm just going to be honest, I feel like these questions might be suited to someone in my position who was a little more flippant and just...
Predatory.
Yeah, honestly. And I don't want to say that, but yeah. There's always the story of, the coach who sleeps with the cheerleaders, and then there's the story of these younger teachers who are seeking attention and sexting with X amount of 7th or 8th grade boys or high school boys or whatever. I was neither of those. And so I'm struggling because there's no way that and I'm not saying it's right, but there's no way that I can convince you that this was a real relationship. But at the time that I was in it, it was, to me.
Can I share some experiences with you?
Please.
And the word will sting your ears.
Okay.
But I have interviewed many pedophiles across time. And I don't put that label on you because you don't fit the description. You're not a pedophile. Pedophiles are focused on, interested only in children. They don't have other relationships. But when I have talked to pedophiles, or I've talked to people who have found themselves in trouble with the law for statutory rape, every single one told me exactly what you're telling me right now. Every single one. Even if it was with a 5-year-old child and a 40-year-old man, they've said, it was different with me. Mm-hmm. It was real emotion. I loved this child loved me. The time we spent together, you can make it ugly, you can describe it however you want, but the time we spent was special. It was different. We're not like all these others. I'm not someone that groomed somebody and victimized them and ruined their lives. We had something special until outsiders got involved and made it ugly. We weren't like all the rest of them. Exactly what you're telling me right now, because they said we were the exception. When we come back, I'm going to get a reaction from these young men, and I'm going to tell you the primary flaw in that thinking.
I feel like the school kind of failed me a little bit. I never got an official apology from the superintendent or my principal or assistant principal or anything. I felt like a spit in the face.
They didn't treat it as if this was an important matter. They didn't treat it like these kids are actually getting traumatized. I think I was the burden and a half in that school, and the faster they can figure out an option to get me away was their only option.
After watching an excerpt of my interview with the former teacher who had a relationship with a 14-year-old student, I'm curious, what's y'all's reaction to that teacher's rationale?
I guess every teacher has their own story, but they're not like considering the trauma of our half. Like, they're just speaking on their trauma, and she didn't even want to acknowledge hers. So I don't get it.
What don't you get?
I don't get how she can feel. One, I think she enjoyed it. But like with my teacher, she enjoyed the trouble she was getting into. So like, where this teacher said she acknowledged it, but she still kept doing it, my teacher acknowledged it and she liked it. When I was running from her, she was like trying to chase me. So like, I don't think they're ever gonna understand what we experienced with.
Had no empathy for you.
Yeah, they're just
didn't look at your side.
Yeah, they won't.
You don't think she cared, or just didn't have the ability to realize what you were going through?
I don't think she has the ability to.
Yeah. How about you? What do you think about what you just heard?
She seemed like she was enjoying every bit of it, and that she kind of regrets getting caught. Like she wishes that she didn't get caught, that she was still talking to the student. Mm-hmm. Like it seemed like she was waiting for him to get out of high school so they could go run off together somewhere.
Mm-hmm. What do you think?
I kind of have like the same situation that student had. She told me that when I turned 18 that we would get married and move in with each other. She said, or that teacher said, she was explaining how she felt and how it traumatized her, but she never explained or tried to feel for the other student, like she had no remorse for it.
We have a statement regarding Mason. Heather has always maintained her innocence of Mason's allegations and will continue to do so to her dying breath. That's a statement from Heather Winfield's attorney. Heather has always maintained her innocence of Mason's allegations and will do so to her dying breath. Okay?
And I would just add, we have statutory rape laws for a reason. Okay, we've decided as a society, until you reach a certain age, you do not have the wherewithal to consent to any sexual activity. That's magnified when you have somebody in a position of authority, such as a teacher, where these young kids go to for guidance. They trust these people. And to hear these teachers try to say that, oh, the kid liked it, the kid loved me too, it troubles me, it disgusts me, because you're manipulating these kids. These kids are looking to you for how to operate in the real world, and you're taking advantage of them, and then you're gonna try to say that they loved you? They don't understand what's going on. And for these teachers to try to say that they were an equal participant is disgusting.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. We've run out of time tonight, but we'll continue our conversation with the former teacher who shares with me the moment her emotional connection with her 14-year-old student led her down a path that forever changed her life. She says her actions cost her more than just her job. Take me through that moment where it went romantic, it went intimate.
I had thought to myself, I care more deeply for this person than I know that I should. The student was only 14.
So this is statutory rape.
There's no way that I can convince you that this was a real relationship. But at the time that I was in it, it was.
What the hell were you thinking? I want to thank Zach Runyon, John Marco, Christy Jack, and all of our guests tonight. We'll have even more information about tonight's episode on our website, so make sure to log on to drphil.com. You can pick up my new book, We've Got Issues, How You Can Stand Strong for America's Soul and Sanity, everywhere books are sold. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.